What's up, guys? Blade Master here, and with another battle in Rome 2 Total War. And this is a really good battle, an epic battle. If you can look at the battle timer, you'll see how long it's gone. Anyways, I've taken Gedai, and my opponent, whom I just found on Quick Battle, has taken Parthia. His name is Argos, and he's a French player. And let me fast forward before the until the match starts. Okay, so here's what he's taken. He's gone with Parthia, and he's gone with a very heavy cavalry army. Actually, before that, let me go over what I brought. This build might be pretty similar to what you guys have seen before from me. It's 3 Dacian heavy skirmishers, 3 noble swords, 3 armored spears, a noble spear, um, 3 total falksmen, and 2 spear warriors. I don't know where they are. And finally, 4 bow cavalry. Now, my opponent has brought a lot of cavalry. Let me just try and see how many he's brought. I know he's brought 4. Oh no, he's brought 3 Sarmatian horse archers. He's brought 5 total slingers, I believe. Isn't it 5? Okay, I guess it's only 4. And 2 Eastern spearmen, an Indian war elephant, 2 noble blood cav, 2 Eastern cataphracts on his right, and 2 Eastern cataphracts and a royal cataphract gen on his left. So, what is my plan here? Well, as usual, what I'm trying to do is lure my enemy in with my bow horseman and try and suck him into my spear units. But now he's already found a way to counter that because he's got Sarmatian horse archers on his by himself. Um, so what I'm gonna try and do is just use these armored spears to catch as much fire from them as possible. I believe they're on heavy shot. Yeah, they're on heavy shot. But these guys have 65 armor, so it shouldn't affect them too much. Um, but meanwhile, I'm also putting my my bow horseman on regular shot to try and just use the range advantage to kill some of his horse archers. Now he's kiting back with his eastern cataphracts, and this is something that you will see a lot in this match, and that's I mean he just played incredibly. Unless I decide to spoil it with the title, um, it's suffice to say that this battle was in his hands the entire game. Uh, he just played so much better than me, completely outclassed. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, I'm not trying to boast here, but it's been a while since I've been so badly defeated, and I actually don't even mind it, because he just played so well. So anyways, coming back to the action, I put my guys on heavy shot and try to lure them in, but for some reason, the skirmish mode is always kind of buggy, and one of them dies while trying to run away from the eastern cataphracts. But my armored spears have tried to attack them. I put them on cavalry counter tactics, but they still managed to lose about 40 units in that charge. But now I've got oh, there he is saying I gotta go have a good night. Bye. See you, man. Anyways, I've got spear warriors and falksmen trying to support this battle, and those guys are going to be pretty deadly against these cataphracts. You can see one of them is already about to is wavering and about to rout. Um, but meanwhile, I'm trying to push ahead with my guys to engage his weak main line, and very smartly he keeps kiting them back. And this is always a very frustrating and useful tactic. And kind of foolishly, I keep trying to push and catch his main line eventually. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but my reasoning was I have a lot of support on these flanks. 2 bow horsemen plus spear warriors and falksmen, and then my other spears are not too far away, so they could provide some. Oh god, this is just frustrating. I put them in skirmish mode, and because of the way the map is made, they don't take advantage of terrain, and they just die really fast that way. They don't skirmish mode doesn't work. But here, very good maneuvering by my opponent. He uses his cataphracts to. He just moves away with his cataphracts and then turns around to get a nice downhill charge. I countercharge with my falksmen, but against any type of shock unit, they're always going to be pretty vulnerable, and especially against cataphracts, they're not going to do too well. But over here, it's looking a bit better. My nobles, my armored spears have caught his gen. Um, and meanwhile, I'm just chasing off his eastern cataphracts as best as I can. Um, but now I moved my Dacian heavy skirmishers on the left because I want to try and kill off one of his kill off his cataphracts on one flank as soon as possible. Um, I kept the other one here just in case, in case exactly this happens, so that they can try and help out. But I've got a ton of spears just help just supporting this battle and trying to kill them off as soon as possible. His gen have killed quite a few, but they've lost a few units as well. Now armored spears over here have suffered a bunch of casualties from the charges, and my spear warriors whom I used to just catch more of his horse archer fire have been reduced on 27 men. Um, and now I'm going to try and sandwich his cataphracts. Uh, I don't get a great charge in or anything, but as long as those guys are there, they'll lose a couple of cataphracts, or he'll lose a couple of cataphracts that way. Now I'm trying to get the main engagement started, but again he's proving elusive as ever and kiting back just when I'm about to attack him. Now the way you see it, it just seems like he's completely outplaying me. Um, you can see my forces have been spread out more and more as the game has progressed. The way this build of mine works best is if all my units are positioned close to each other because of the lack of maneuverability of spears. Now these two Dacian heavy skirmishers that I used to try and help out in my flanks have been charged by his cataphracts, and they're going to lose out very soon. Um, Probably a mistake bringing them uh, or bringing them that far without any support. Um, but it does give me a chance to try and catch some of his cavalry with my spearmen. And if he's not, absolutely perfect with his micro, I will catch some of them. But I've been drawn into like just pulling more and more units out of my main line and trying to combat his cataphracts that way because they were causing a bunch of casualties and I was losing a bunch of men too. His royal cataphracts haven't done too much, and they have lost quite a few units. But he's kiting so well with them. Like it's very easy to underestimate how sneaky spears can be because they can just with their slow pace they can just sneak up on you while while you're busy doing a million other stuff on the battlefield. Now I eventually cornered him on the main line, but he has charged with his cataphracts and he's pulling away with them immediately. These guys have expert charge defense, but you could see that a combined charge from two cataphracts have caused a bunch of casualties. Interesting to note is their bonus versus large is only 45, but that still means that they have something around 72 melee attack versus cavalry. Here, one of my units have been isolated. He's just managed to do that while I was trying to give chase to his horse archers. And some of my units over here, some low value units, have been isolated here. I still am chasing his cataphracts with my horse archers, and he's brought his elephants. So I kite back my troops in response. And he's bringing his eastern slingers to try and counter my horse archers, who were used to counter his elephants by using flaming shot. So just a bunch of chess moves, basically the Total War version of chess moves going on in this game. Now, very stupid move on my part. I try and use my Dacian heavy skirmishers to get a couple of volleys on his royal catas. Should have kept them close to my noble swords, honestly. And now they're going to get or front charged by noble blood cav. They do get a nice volley in, but these guys are heavily armored. They're just going to smash through them. Dacian heavy skirmishers do not have spears in melee. So, unlike even though they're a pretty heavy cost skirmisher, excuse me. Even though they're pretty heavy cost skirmishers, they have good stats because they have a good sword with them. But they don't have spears. Now these Indian armored elephants are going to charge into my axe warriors. I left these guys isolated on purpose so that they would absorb the charge, and then I'd send my noble spears in to catch these Indian war elephants once their charge was done. These bow horsemen have been picked apart by Eastern slingers, and throughout this game you'll see how to best use slingers. He just manages to use them so well. And I just imagine how much havoc he would have wreaked if he actually brought archers instead of slingers. We all know that Parthia has really good archers. So instead of four slingers, if he'd brought three archers, like he would have done so much more damage. Now more of my units have been just left stranded trying to chase after his cavalry, and these foxmen, I've set them to charge his royal cadders, and they got a pretty decent downhill charge. But foxmen always do a couple of kills at least. Um, you can see some of his cadders have died. I could have used them a bit better, but honestly, at this point, I was more focused on trying to kill his elephants. They got about 74 kills. They routed my axe warrior unit, but I'm sure they've lost a bunch of HP because I brought noble spears to attack them, and now these foxmen are going to charge them. They'll obviously die, and but I've also brought some more spear warriors and some more spear support. Set them on cavalry counter tactics, and despite them losing a bunch of men, I'm sure they will win. I've also brought some more armored spears to finish off that flank. Meanwhile, noble spears have been attacked in the rear. I honestly thought that I had managed to attack his eastern spearmen well, but apparently not. I did think that I would win this, but his eastern spearmen, they've got 13 and 16 kills respectively, which is amazing for such a low cost unit. Here, more spears are sneaking up on his cataphracts. These guys have got 30 kills in a single chevron because they just from sheer, killing cataphracts. Now, I finally managed to kill his elephants. They got 200 kills, which is really good. And they've, killed off a bunch of my spears. But the game is still on, at this point because I've got a lot of units, and my noble swords are basically full strength. So three full strength noble swords, a couple of half strength armored spears and one which is just about to rout because he's getting a charge off with his royal cadders on them. So the perfect way to use slingers one, and the perfect way to use cataphracts in this is shown in this game. Noble swords are getting gangbanged by eastern cataphracts and royal cataphracts. He even brought his mercenary Sarmatian horse archers to rear charge some of my units just to spread that fear effect around from being charged in the rear. But I've managed to kill some of his noble blood cap, and hopefully my noble swords would last long enough that they can just hold these guys in place. They are getting kills, and they will finish off these eastern spearmen, um, and they will obviously kill off these Sarmatian horse archers as well. But he has pulled away his really strong cab, like his royal cataphracts and his eastern cataphracts. So let's see the unit count at this point. He's got noble blood cab at half strength and three cataphracts. These guys are about to die because I've got a charge off. So yeah, we can count out all these Sarmatian horse archers and these eastern spearmen at this moment. Now I send one of my noble swords to catch one of his noble blood cav, and he's just getting great shots with the slingers at this point. They are slowly killing them off, and because I don't have any cavalry, I have no choice but to just keep trying to pick apart his noble blood cav, one unit at a time. Now I've sent an armored spear to attack his cavalry regiment. I should have learned by now that this guy's micro is really good, and I wouldn't be able to sneak up and catch some of his units that way, like I usually do. And just as expected, right now he's moving, kiting away with his cataphracts. Now again, you can see how he's just forced me to spread my units all apart, and that's the exact reason why I said that he outplayed me in this entire game at the start. Now I do manage to sneak up on his noble blood cav, but they do kite away, so I only get a couple of kills. They are losing men, but very very slowly. Meanwhile, my units are being isolated so much easier, and he's it's very easy right now for him to just keep kiting away and then getting great shots with the eastern slingers. I realize this a bit too late, but I do realize it, and then I just decide to kite back. And then at this point, what I should have done, but I think it was too late at this point, is I should have tried to merge my troops and then bring them into a solid, kind of box, I would say. But with them being isolated, they're not going to do me any favors. I do catch some of his eastern carriers, and at this point, I see him, trying to charge, and then I counter charge. but then it's the usual, is the same old story. He gets rear charges off with his cataphracts, with the rest of his cataphracts, and while these guys could do a bunch of kills, they don't. It's just 40 kills at the end of the day, and then they rout. My gen, I believe, gets a nice like Tila toss on these noble blood cab, and that's why they rout at this point. I thought they routed at this point. Huh, weird. I guess they didn't. Um, Now I'm running away with my noble swords because concentrated slinger fire can be pretty deadly. You can see like these eastern slingers 60, 50, 40, and 60. So wow, that's just a lot of kills for a slinger unit. So yeah, you did really well with them. Um, but now I'm trying to consolidate my troops as much as possible. I've brought two of my swords a bit closer together than they were, so there's not too much gap between them. And now I'm sending my gen to try and attack his cataphracts as usual. The lack of cav really kind of hurt me, I guess. But it wouldn't have made a difference because considering the army that he brought, his cataphracts would have torn my shock cav apart. Um, Maybe if I brought like a the only way I could have won this is if I brought spear slash cav like spear horseman spam, and I obviously wouldn't do that. Um, Now his cataphracts get a charge off on my gen, and then he pulls back with them immediately. Um, Doing this is a very useful tactic because while these guys are have fallen down and they take a while before they get up. Um, so you can pull back without suffering any casualties that way. Uh, you can see 217 kills on his cataphracts, and then 133 on his other, and 154 on his final cataphract. Now, finally, I managed to kill one of these catas off, just get them to waver and rout, and then he sends his gen for the final charge, and thus destroys my gen. I think at this point my gen died, and thus they routed. Now, I do have one final unit of noble swords left, who did get a bunch of kills and have got double chevrons. But at this point, the game is basically over. I don't quit, obviously. Why would I quit? This is such a good game. Um, but yeah, at this point, I mean, it's game over. He brings his slingers to close down the gap, and all he needs now is just a final concentrated charge on my noble swords, and it's game over. Yep, gets a charge off, gets another charge off. They're wavering. I do put headhunt on them, but they're done. So very good game, Argos, and really well played. Um, and looking forward to playing more games with him soon. If you can see, my Dacian heavy skirmishers were a big waste of money. They might have not been if I'd played with them, if I played correctly with them, and if my opponent wasn't as good as he was. Um, but yeah, he just made them into massive waste of money. Some of my Falksmen did okay. I mean, considering all these kills were cataphract kills. Spear warriors didn't do as well as I thought they would. Noble spears did quite well. But actually, you know, considering the cost, I thought that they would do a bit better. Armored spears did terribly. And that's just because he just made it so much easier for himself, but by isolating my units so easily. My noble swords obviously did quite well, and they're obviously I think they're probably the most trustworthy unit in the Gedai roster. Taking a look at how well he did, his horse archers did much better than mine. His cataphracts obviously were the MVPs, but his Eastern slingers were just the silent killers. Like you can see, this is 150, 200, what 260, around 260 to 270 kills with his Eastern slingers. And what? 59 and 7. These guys are the true MVPs. 59 and 77 kills for Eastern Spearmen. Jesus Christ, what did I? But I was sure that I set an attack order on this Eastern Spearman. That's weird. Because if my Noble Spears hadn't routed, this could have been a pretty different game. Um, his Indian War Elephants did quite well too. Just completely outclassed by this guy. And it's been a while since this has happened to me, and I felt obligated that I had to bring this to you guys. And anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. I'm pretty sure it was quite a long replay, but hopefully it was tolerable. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.